I've always thought my dad was the gold standard for what a husband and father should be. He never raised his voice at my mom, always showed up for every school event, and treated her like she was the only woman in the world. When my friends would talk about their parents' fights or divorces, I'd feel this quiet pride that my family wasn't like that. That illusion shattered last week. I was visiting my parents' house when my grandpa pulled me aside into the den. He's 82 now, and he's been saying for months that he wants to get some things off his chest before he goes. I thought it would be about family history or advice or maybe some hidden war stories. Instead, he told me something that knocked the wind out of me. 25 years ago, my dad cheated on my mom, and she never found out. I just sat there, staring at him, feeling like the floor had tilted under me. Everything I thought I knew about my family suddenly had a crack running right through it.
After Grandpa told me, I couldn't speak for a solid minute. It felt like he just handed me a live grenade and walked away. I kept thinking about all those years growing up. The family vacations, the way Dad would kiss Mom on the forehead when he thought no one was watching, the little inside jokes they had. It didn't make sense. How could the man who taught me to always respect women, who told me that loyalty is the most important thing in a marriage, have done something like that? I wanted to ask 1,000 questions, but my brain felt frozen. Grandpa didn't give many details, just that it was a mistake your dad made a long time ago, and that it didn't mean he didn't love your mom. But now, every perfect memory I have of my family feels like it has a shadow lurking behind it. And I'm stuck wondering, do I really know who my dad is at all?
That night, after I left my parents' house, I lay in bed replaying memories from my childhood, like scenes from an old movie. Christmas mornings, Dad carrying me on his shoulders at the zoo, the way he always held Mom's hand when we crossed the street. It was also wholesome, the kind of stuff that makes you believe your family is unshakable. And now, I can't stop wondering, during those moments, did he ever think about what he'd done? Was there a pang of guilt when he looked at Mom? Or had he compartmentalized it so deeply that it became just another locked box in his mind? What hurts the most is that I never doubted him. Not once. He was my role model, my example of how to be a good man. And now, I don't know if that version of him I believed in was real, or just a part of the story he wanted us to see.
Since Grandpa told me, I've had this constant pull inside me. Part of me wants to go straight to Dad and ask, is it true? I want to hear him say it, to see his face when he realizes I know. But another part of me is terrified of the answer. What if he confirms it and the image of him I've carried my whole life crumbles completely? What if he denies it and I'm left stuck between my grandfather's word and my father's? And what if, worst of all, he admits it but says it didn't mean anything? I keep playing out the conversation in my head, imagining his voice, his reaction, whether he'd be defensive, ashamed, or relieved to finally get it off his chest. But every time I think about starting it, I freeze. Because once I ask, there's no putting the truth back in the box.
Since finding out, I've been noticing things I never paid attention to before. The way he looks at Mom when she's laughing, the small gestures he does for her, pouring her coffee first, fixing the squeaky door without her asking, warming up her car in winter. Before, I saw these as proof of his devotion. Now, I can't help but wonder if some of it is guilt, buried so deep he doesn't even realize it anymore. It's like someone handed me a new pair of glasses, and suddenly I'm rewatching my whole life with a different filter. I don't know if I'm searching for signs that he's still the man I believed in, or for clues that confirm what Grandpa told me. Either way, I can't look at him the same way I did just a week ago.
I've been spending more time with Mom lately, partly because I want to make sure she's okay, and partly because I'm dying to know if she ever suspected anything. We'll be having coffee, and I'll steer the conversation toward marriage, relationships, trust, but she never hints at knowing anything bad about Dad. She talks about him with warmth, pride, and love, the same way she always has. It's almost surreal. Either she's completely unaware, or she's known all along and, for her own reasons, decided to live with it. And that possibility scares me even more than the cheating itself. Because if she does know, then everything I thought was simple and pure about their love is actually something far more complicated.
It's strange. Before Grandpa told me, I thought my family's love story was something simple, clean, and whole. Now it feels like I'm holding on to a fragile vase with a hidden crack that's been there for decades. Every time I sit across from Dad at dinner, I feel like I'm carrying this invisible secret between us. He doesn't know I know. I don't know if I'll ever tell him. Part of me wishes I could just erase it from my memory, go back to believing he was the perfect husband and father. But the truth has a way of sitting in the back of your mind, whispering that you can't unhear it. And no matter what happens next, I'm not sure I'll ever look at either of my parents the same way again.
The hardest part has been separating the man I've known my whole life from the man who made that choice 25 years ago. My brain keeps trying to merge them into one, but it's like oil and water. I think about the times he stayed up late helping me with school projects or drove hours to watch me play sports. The way he always encouraged me to do the right thing, even when it was hard. And then I remember he didn't do the right thing back then. He broke the very values he drilled into me. I keep asking myself, does one terrible decision erase a lifetime of being a good dad? Or is it possible to hold both truths at once, that he's the man who raised me well and the man who once betrayed my mom?
Since that day, I've been avoiding one-on-one time with Grandpa. Not because I'm angry at him. I know he thought he was doing the right thing by telling me, but because I'm afraid he'll tell me more. I don't want details. I don't want to know where it happened, who it was with, or how long it went on. The broad outline is already more than I can handle. When I see him now, I feel this awkward tension. He'll give me this look like we share a secret, but it doesn't feel like a bond. It feels like a burden he's dropped into my lap. And every time he starts a sentence with, back then, I quickly change the subject. Because if I hear one more thing, I'm not sure I can keep this from spilling out to my dad.
I can't stop asking myself, why me? Why, after all these years, did Grandpa choose to tell me instead of Dad, or Mom, or just keeping it to himself? He said it was because you're old enough to understand now, but what does that even mean? Does understanding mean I'm supposed to forgive it? Ignore it? Pretend it doesn't matter? Part of me thinks maybe Grandpa was trying to clear his own conscience, passing the weight from his shoulders to mine, and now I'm stuck carrying it. Not knowing if it's a truth that should stay hidden or one that could blow up my family if I let it out. Sometimes I wish I could just unknow it, because life felt a whole lot simpler before I did.
Ever since I found out, I've been watching Dad in a way I never have before. I notice how he speaks to Mom, the way he reacts when she leaves the room, even his tone when he answers the phone. I'm not looking for signs that he's cheating now. I don't think he is. But I am searching for something. A crack in the mask, a moment of guilt, an unguarded look that says he remembers what he did. Instead, I see the same Dad I've always known, laughing with Mom while they cook dinner, humming to himself while he fixes things around the house, hugging her from behind when she's making tea. And that's what messes me up the most. If I didn't know what I know now, I'd swear they had the perfect marriage. Maybe they still do, just not in the way I thought.
I've never kept something this big from my mom before. She's always been the person I could tell anything to. But now, this feels like a betrayal if I speak, and a betrayal if I stay silent. When she talks about Dad, about how lucky she feels to have him, I just sit there, nodding, forcing a smile. Inside, I'm screaming to know if she has any idea. But if she doesn't, do I really want to be the one to shatter her world after 25 years of marriage? And if she does know, then why hasn't she ever said anything? Is she protecting me? Protecting herself? Protecting the family? I feel like I've been shoved into the middle of a story I was never supposed to hear, and now I can't get out without hurting someone I love.
A few days ago, I decided to drop a small, indirect hint, just to see if Mom would react. We were talking about relationships, and I casually said, "I guess even good marriages can have their rough patches, right?" She just smiled and said, "Of course, nobody's perfect, but the key is how you move forward together." Her tone was calm, almost knowing. It didn't feel like a generic answer. It felt like something she'd lived through. That one sentence has been echoing in my head ever since. It makes me wonder if maybe she has known all along, and if their marriage, the one I always thought was perfect, has actually been a story of quiet forgiveness this whole time. And if that's true, maybe I'm the only one still struggling to make peace with it.
The more I watch them now, the more I notice things I used to take for granted. The way Dad still opens the car door for Mom, how she still laughs at his bad jokes, how they'll argue over something small, but by the end of the night, they're curled up on the couch watching TV together. Before, I thought those little things were just normal for them. Now, I see them as choices. Two people deciding day after day to keep loving each other despite whatever happened in the past. It's strange. In some ways, knowing about Dad's mistake has made me respect them both more. Because if they've survived something like that, then maybe their marriage isn't perfect, but it's strong in a way I never understood before.
I don't know if I'll ever tell Dad that I know. And maybe I don't need to. What I've learned from all of this is that people, even the ones you admire most, are complicated. They can make terrible choices and still be good parents, loving partners, and decent human beings. The image I had of my dad as a flawless man is gone, but in its place is something more real. A man who made a mistake, lived with it, and somehow built a life with my mom that's lasted decades. It's not the fairy tale I thought I grew up in, but maybe it's something better. A reminder that love isn't about never messing up, it's about what you do after you do. And when I think about the kind of partner I want to be someday, I think I'll carry both lessons with me. Never betray the person you love, and if you ever falter, fight like hell to make it right.